Hey Internet, Eric here again. Here with a top 5 that I sadly don't really want to do. And the reason why I'm doing this top 5 is because, depending on when you watch this video, we sadly lost Alan Rickman today. One of my favorite actors of all time. I haven't seen this man has done an abundance of film and theater, and I haven't seen like even half of what this man can do. But the world of film and just acting in general has lost a huge influence, huge talent. So tonight I decided that I'm going to do my top 5 Alan Rickman performances. I guess. Um, yeah, it's something I'm doing. I guess as a tribute to him. I mean, I don't really know how a man like me can, pay him tribute other than just saying, how much I enjoy his films and his performances. And I can't really say his films because if you think of it, Alan Rickman hasn't really been cast, to my knowledge, or at least what I've seen, as the lead star, other than one of my films that I'm picking tonight. Yeah, these might be in order from number 5 to number 1 in terms of performance. Not necessarily favorite movies, but it's just favorite performances of Alan in general. So here we go. Like I said, sad to say that that's the reason why I'm doing this, but I guess it's my way to pay tribute to the man. Number 5 came out in 2007, and it was directed by Tim Burton, and it is Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, starring Johnny Depp. Now, this is a Johnny Depp film, Helena Bonham Carter, and in this top 5, I'm not going to go describe a lot of the movie. It's basically just going to be about Alan Rickman. The basic plot of this is Johnny Depp is Sweeney Todd, and he is basically getting revenge. He wants to get revenge on the man who imprisoned him, the judge that helped imprison him, Alan Rickman. And eventually, as he's doing this, he is murdering people, and he has an agreement with Helena Bonham Carter that these people he murdered, he is sending to her so she can turn these people into meat pies that they have back in London in, is it 1800s? I don't know. And then, feeding them to the public, and then her, her restaurant blooms with, fantastic amounts of money. But Alan Rickman plays the judge, and he's the man that put Sweeney Todd away. Sweeney Todd is Johnny Depp. Put him away in prison, and Alan Rickman just plays such a dirty, sadistic asshole here, and he's 100% unlikable. There is nothing good about this man. And Alan Rickman, like I said, if you've seen Alan Rickman stuff, he's always enjoyable and a great actor. But here, he plays a low-life, dirty, disgusting man. And it's fantastic performance. And then here, spoilers, like I just said, basically what the plot is. Eventually, Johnny Depp, he's the barber. He does catch up with Alan Rickman. And, this here, he's shaving his neck. And they have this wonderful song between the two of them because Sweeney Todd is based off a Broadway play, I believe. And everybody in this film does their own singing. Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, and Alan Rickman. And what's his name? Sacha Baron Cohen's in it as well. But this scene here between Alan Rickman and Johnny Depp is so fantastic because you know what Johnny wants to do, what Sweeney Todd wants to do, as he's singing and conversing with Alan Rickman. And my God, the tension is just so built up when the outcome finally happens. You get that release, like, it's not just a fresh breath of air that, the tension release. It's a holy shit moment. and it's really, really well done. Definitely, Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street. My next film, I don't have a copy of, and I normally if I don't have a copy of these films, I have a picture on my phone, but it's upstairs charging, and I'm not gonna go get it. But I just finished watching for the second time on Netflix, so if it's still available as you are watching this film, go watch it right now. It came out in 2013, and it's called CBGB, and it's about Hilly Crystal, not Billy Crystal, Hilly Crystal, the man who created CBGB. And CBGB was a nightclub, and it helped discover so many bands. It helped discover the Ramones. It helped discover the Talking Heads, Blondie, the Dead Boys, and so many others. But the Police have played there. White Zombie. The list is endless. And Alan Rickman plays Hilly. And it's a really good underdog story. And this is great because this is the first time for me seeing Alan Rickman in a lead role. He is the lead role in this movie. And he's fantastic. Great underdog story. Man, divorced, filed for bankruptcy twice, has a horrible relationship with his daughter, and he's had 2 failed nightclub attempts already. But then he opens up CBGB, and it gets a huge, huge cult following due to the bands that play there. But it's such a disgusting flop house. I mean, Hilly's dog shits right there on the floor. His security team is a bunch of bikers that drink there for free. His employees are fucking heroin addicts and yada yada yada. But Alan Rickman takes Hilly, who seems like a disgusting, disgusting character, through his talent, makes him very likable and enjoyable. And you're rooting for this man. You want him to succeed. You want to see where is he gonna, because eventually he becomes the manager of one of the bands, and you're like, I want this man to be successful, because you see he's came out of, when we were first introduced, he's in this shit type of shitty relationship in his life, period of his life, and you just want to see him rise, out of the shit and get to, I guess, the promised land or whatever. And Rickman is so engaging. He's so he makes, like I said, he makes this disgusting character. There's a scene where he's just sitting there talking to one of his buddies, or maybe it's one of the record producers. And just out of nowhere, he just slaps, his desk, and he's killing a cockroach, and he just flicks it off like it's nothing. He takes this disgusting character, makes him likable and enjoyable. So CBGB, definitely give it a shot. I just recommended it to like 2 or 3 friends just tonight, and it's fantastic. Such a good film. My wife isn't big on these type of films, and she enjoyed it as well. I mean, it might just because it's Alan Rickman, but Alan Rickman can get anyone to enjoy one of his films. My next film came out in 2000. And this is part of Kevin Smith's Viewers universe. He was only going to have a trilogy of films with Clerks and Mallrats and Chasing Amy, and that was going to be his New Jersey trilogy. But instead, he made a 4th film, and it is Dogma. There's Alan right there. Like I said, Dogma is the 4th film in Kevin Smith's universe of films, and Alan Rickman plays the metronome. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And what he is he's basically, does it say how you spell it? No. But he is the voice of God. Because if you heard God speak, your body would not be able to contain it. So God speaks through Alan Rickman. And Alan Rickman is there to take Linda Fiorentino. And she is like the last descendant of Jesus Christ. And he takes her to help stop Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, 2 angels that have found a way to get into heaven. If they get into heaven, it would pretty much end the world, in a nutshell. There's a lot more to do with it in this film, but that's the basic plot. And Alan Rickman, he is his usual sarcastic, self, but he's very, very funny. Um, he's there's a scene where he introduces himself to Linda Fiorentino, and he standing there, his wings agape and everything like that, and he's telling her who he is, and she's just like, who the fuck are you? I don't understand. He's like, basically he paraphrasing, he says, wow, you people here on Earth, if there's not a movie about it, you don't know who I am or who anybody is. And he's very, very good. He's got a very good chemistry with Linda Fiorentino and all the cast. And like I said, there's little bits and pieces that are just, they could be throwaway, scenes with if any other actor, but Alan Rickman makes it work. There's a scene where they're in a bar, and he's explaining the whole situation to Linda, and he's trying to drink. And every time he takes a drink, he has another glass and he spits into it. Because he's not, one of the things God did when he was pissed off is he made angels unable to enjoy, or unable to get drunk. So he can taste the alcohol and he has to spit it right out. So good. Wonderful, wonderful. It's a wonderful performance. This is, honestly, I just finished CBGB. I said, I'm probably going to go upstairs and watch Dogma. This was my first introduction to Kevin Smith. And it's probably my favorite under Mallrats. A lot of, the performances are fantastic, but Alan Rickman is probably the star of the show, in my opinion. I mean, you got the typical, character, actors that are in every fucking Kevin Smith film, but it's Alan Rickman that just steals the fucking show. And seriously, everyone points to Harry Potter, because he was Professor Snape. I'm happy to see that, through my Facebook feed, it was about half and half. Half of it was Professor Snape, and half of it, was the Metronome. And the scene where he proves to Linda Fiorentino that he does not have any genitals, that's all I'm going to say. Alright, 2 left. A lot of people will be surprised that this is actually my number 2, because number 2 is what a lot of people go to when they think of Alan Rickman. And this was actually on another one of my top 5 lists, top 5 non-traditional Christmas movies. Little plug there to watch my other film or other videos. It's Die Hard. Okay? What's great about Alan Rickman in Die Hard? He plays Hans Gruber. Who is a terrorist who has taken over a high-rise building. And it's up to good old John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, to save the day. And what's great about Hans Gruber here, or Alan Rickman, is he takes a villain. And what he does with this villain is he makes him charismatic. He makes him very, very, I don't know if likable is the word, but you root for him. I mean, I compared him somewhat to Simon Phoenix in Demolition Man, Wesley Snipes' character. Alan Rickman could have played this stereotypical villain, but the way he enunciates, the way he converses with all these other characters in the film, you're like, wow, I shouldn't think this because this man is threatening, to kill many people, but he's pretty fucking cool, I know, John McClane, Bruce Willis is gonna fucking win, but there's that little bit of you where you hope that John McClane fails because Hans Gruber is such a wonderfully portrayed villain. I mean, and what's great is Alan Rickman shows a lot of range here. I mean, he's this calm, cool, collective villain, but then when the frustration happens, it really comes out. And then there's a scene where John McClane and Hans Gruber actually bump into each other, and Hans Gruber has to pretend he's not who he is. So he gets rid of his accent and plays just a scared, pretending to be a scared employee at this high-rise. And it's a wonderful scene. I really, really enjoy his performance. before I get to my number one choice, I'm going to say um, there is a honorable mention here. I'm not going to throw in the Harry Potter movies because I really, honestly haven't seen them in years. I've only seen like maybe the first four, and I don't remember a lot of him being Professor Snape because I know he's not really a main focus. I know he gets a lot more time as the movies go on, but I'd like to make an honorable mention. I don't have a copy, so whatever. Robin Hood Robin Hood. I'm gonna say fucking Men in Tights. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the Kevin Costner film. And Alan Rickman plays the sheriff of Nottingham. I almost fucking said Rottingham. God, fuck you, Mel Brooks. But he plays the sheriff of Nottingham, and he's a very, very sadistic man here. But he chews up the scenery so well. He is so menacing here. Like the scene when we're first introduced to him, where it's nighttime and he's on these horses and there's torches and he's behind a mask. Literally, he always slowly pulls off the mask and, the camera looks right in his eyes and his evil face. So good. Oh, man. He's very, very vicious here. And the thing is, Alan Rickman, he's very tall, but at least from what you normally see, he's a very skinny man. But he's very intimidating here. He's very, very scary. So my honorable mention is, if you haven't seen, the movie's fucking at least 20 years old. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Great movie, to begin with, but Alan Rickman, lots of times he plays these, these villains here, but his performance here is truly, truly great. Now, if you're an Alan Rickman fan, and you haven't seen what I've said yet for my number one choice, you might think, well, there's only one obvious choice, what my number one choice is. Because what else is he known for all around the world? And that is Galaxy Quest. This movie here also stars like Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver. Everyone. You know what? I'm going to have to honestly probably do my own review of this film. Because Tony Shalhoub's in it, Sam Rockwell's in it, young Justin Long. What it is Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, and I'm assuming Daryl Mitchell, the black guy. They're a bunch of actors who were popular on probably during the 70s. Basically a Star Trek ripoff type of show. And Alan Rickman, and what it is the plot is that aliens come to Earth and they come looking for help from the crew, because what they believe is what have we got in here? What they believe is, while watching the and it's not important. Well, they see the transmissions of the TV show sent to their alien world, and they're being attacked by an evil creature, an evil space warlord. And what it is they believe that this show is real documented footage of them defending the universe. And they misinterpret all that. So they go to Earth and they bring the entire cast of does it say what the show is? Oh, I got okay. Maybe the show is actually called Galaxy Quest that they were on. I don't remember, but and then they enlist the actors to help take over this warlord and get him taken out of the universe. Absolutely love this movie. Every single character is fantastic, but we're talking about Mr. Alan Rickman. You can see here he plays, at least his character in the Galaxy Quest television series, he was an alien, basically kind of like Worf from Star Trek: The Next Generation. But what's great here is he plays this character, Alexander, and character in real life, not in the Galaxy Quest TV show. And Alexander is this well-respected, classically trained stage actor from Britain. And he's now sadly only known as, you know, this character in this TV show. He hates it. Absolutely fucking hates it. Like, one of my favorite scenes is in the very beginning, and they're at a convention. And he is refusing to go on stage. And, like, he tries to run away, and they got to convince him to get back on stage. And since he's classically trained and he loves the theater and he respects the theater, what does Tim Allen do? He says, "Show must go on." Right there, you know, Alan Rickman gives him this evil look, and he basically says, "You bastard." And then when he's signing autographs, you know, he's so sick of this one. He's kind of like Gary Coleman. You know, Gary Coleman is known for "What You Talking About, Willis?" And that followed him to the end till his death. Well, Alan Rickman's character has a line he's known for saying, and refuses to say it. So when he's sitting down signing autographs, he's got these two fanboys dressed just as him. They put their hands up in the air and they say, like, what is it? "By grab Thor's hammer, I will avenge thee." That's part of it. And Alan looks just right at him, rips the, you know, was it the 8x10 or whatever picture out of him, signs the autograph, gives it to him. And then you have a second one doing the same thing. Before he can even finish his fucking line, he rips it out of his hand with more ferocity, signs it, and almost throws it at him. And it's great because Alan Rickman is his typical sarcastic self, but, you know, he wishes he was more. He's like, why am I only known for this one role? And then by the end of the film, after, you know, they deal with this warlord and everything, and they deal with these aliens, he's grown to respect and accept his role for what it is, and he grows to enjoy it. So I cannot recommend, not just for Alan Rickman's performance, but Galaxy Quest. It's such a fun movie. And Alan Rickman, you know, like I said, the performances are top-notch, stand out from every single person here. But Alan Rickman, you steal the show. You are the star of it, even though you only get third billing after Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver. But yeah, that is hands down my favorite Alan Rickman performance, favorite Alan Rickman movie. Yeah. So, in closing, it's very sad that I had to do this type of top 5 video under these circumstances. But if this is the way that I can get Alan Rickman's name and work out, and hopefully get more people to watch and you know, enjoy his films, and have at it. So yeah, it's just 2016 has been tough. You know, we've lost Alan Rickman, lost David Bowie. Within the last month, we lost Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. So hopefully, you know, cheers, guys. Hopefully, if there is a heaven, you're up there partying. And you know what? You're still missed, and you're still well loved down here. So, cheers.